put a smile on your face when you're moving from place to place. Good morning, good morning, morning, good morning, morning.
Welcome back to the morning show on Tobago Updates Television. We're now at 7:20 a.m. So if you're getting to work for 8 a.m. and having to drop the children off to school, you have just about 40 minutes to make it happen. So remember to be safe on the nation's roads as we go this morning. All right, so we are going to start our conversations this morning, and we have our first guest, and this is Mr. Patterson Brooks. He's the principal of the Roxborough Secondary School. As we know, they recently did a rebranding in the week, and so we're going to have some conversations as it relates to that. Good morning, Mr. Brooks, and welcome.
Good morning to you, and good morning to the listening audience in Tobago.
Right,
And
indeed a pleasure
beyond,
to
of
have
course.
you on our program this morning, especially with talking about rebranding. But before we get into that, I want to talk a little bit about the history of the Roxborough Secondary School. I know the school opened its doors in 1965, which is about 59 years ago. And of course, so many things have changed since that time. You know, there's been a progression. And of course, we have come to this place now where you are principal there. And of course, you have a vision for moving forward. But what has your experience been when you entered the school? What has it been like before you got there, your experience as you entered, and where are you taking Roxborough Secondary School now?
Okay, I am born and bred, lived most of my life in Roxborough. So even before I started school, my father would take me on walks, and one of the places I loved to for when he took us on walk was Roxborough Secondary School. That was, and it used to look as such a big place to me. Now, after I returned to for my degree, I went into teaching. I spent 35 years in teaching, and the last 7 years, I had the pleasure of coming back to Roxborough Sec. So it was like a homecoming to me because I spent the 20-something plus years teaching in the Scarborough region. So Roxborough, because it's home, it holds a dear place in my heart. When I got there, one of the things I was impressed with is the level of commitment of the teachers there. Because how the school is currently, we have a tremendous amount of odds to face. And the victory that we got in the secondary school track and field championships this year is a living testimony to the dedication of the hard-working staff.
Yes, I can
Does that
tell.
answer?
Yes, because
Right.
I know, especially these schools that are in community-based schools, you get that buy-in, not just from the teacher population, but you find that the community, the parents themselves, they are also actively involved, especially when the students come from that particular area. Just like how you are from Roxborough, and for you, it's like home. You know, they buy into these extracurricular activities, and they ensure that they promote these children and give them the best options possible. So I see where you're coming from, and I understand what you're talking about with the commitment, because for me, if you have that partnership, then you are driven to do even more. And so I can see that coming from Roxborough Secondary School. I can see the passion that comes from there with the teaching and also with all the extracurricular activities emanating from there. Now, you've been there for 7 years and you've seen so many things happen. You've seen the commitment of the teachers. You've seen how they disseminate information, how they teach, the teaching and learning style there. And now that you are principal there, and of course you would have your own touch, you would have your own personal style, you'll have your own goals, and you'll have your direction for where you want the school to be. And what are some of the things that you are carrying from what you met there into the new phase with your rebranding?
Okay, let me just go back to the statement about the community base. We say it takes a village to raise a child. It takes a village to make a school. And Roxborough Sec is more than just Roxborough, because I will tell you 90% of our population is not from Roxborough and its environs. So that tells you of the school. But your question is what we are carrying forward. Now, our rebranding effort started in May of 2021 when we looked at the current condition of the world in terms of world of work, the way we are going in terms of technology and so on, we decided if you are going to use the traditional curriculum, then you are going to produce children that are fully prepared for the world of yesterday. So, what we decided there and then is that we wanted to take the school from where it was, which was a school that even if we had technology as a part of the whole old model, but it was not necessarily a school that is going to prepare a child to take its part in a digitally enabled world. In addition to that, if you look at the curriculum of a traditional school, it is more geared to producing doctors, lawyers, scientists, and those kind of things, even if we're talking about junior sec and those other schools. And what we decided is that the best way for us to move forward is to offer a curriculum that is based on sports, arts, and technology, along with the technical vocational area of study. We wanted to start with sports because it instills discipline. You have to be a disciplined person. You have to, mastery comes by practice. You have to apply yourself. You can't be successful in sports because it's highly competitive. And we are saying that's the first criteria we wanted for our students. Someone who would be able to compete with anybody in the world today. After that, we have the arts. Once again, freedom of expression, but also mastery by practice, where you are able to explore all your creative abilities. And what we are saying, those two is going to lay the foundation for what comes after, because if you're confident, you apply yourself, you have the first two keys to success. After that, that's why we're going TechVoc now. TechVoc, we believe, is more applicable to the local settings in terms of preparing people for the world around us. If we prepare 100 doctors, 100 engineers, 100 lawyers, if all of the schools from Goodwood, we have 9 secondary schools in Tobago, that would be 900 of each of those persons. How many of them will find employment in Trinidad and Tobago? But if we prepare people to be tradesmen, to be artisan, then we are preparing them for the wider market. And in addition to that, we are looking at even new areas where in the digital world that is still not subscribed to enough on the CXC syllabus. Over to you.
Mr. Brooks, I really appreciate the direction in which you are taking the school, and especially when you mentioned that if you follow the traditional curriculum, you'll be preparing your students for a school of yesterday, which is quite true, because those things are a little bit archaic. And so moving forward, identifying where your strengths can be and where your students can thrive in those three particular primary areas, commendations go out to you. And of course, the world is, it's evolving. And so we have to go with the changing times. So many congratulations to you and the staff there for doing that. And I do hope that, as you implement these things, that you do see additional commitment from your students, from your teachers, and from the community that is molding the minds of these students as they try to achieve their goals. Talking about goals and achievements, I want to zone into some of the achievements that you have enjoyed over the time, your tenure there, and even prior to you being there. And what are some of the things you are putting your mind to achieving as you move on as principal there?
Well, the thing about it is, one of the sins of Roxborough Sec is that we don't sing our praises enough. We don't make the world know when we succeed. But I'm going to answer that, and I'm going to address another issue that you mentioned in passing. Now, we've won football championship, netball championships, film festival. We've won road relay competition, best what's the okay, I'm going to come back to that. it's the competition that the bank was holding. Let me come back there. Okay, so we've won Best Teacher for Science Expo. We've won best prizes in Spanish over the years. So we have won our share of competitions. Oh, since we embark on this Spartec project, we are actually doing very good in sports. What we want to do after that is ensure that we get the technological part of the program is yes, the word the name I was looking for is we won the best young leaders community project, and I really wanted to mention that because the Roxborough Police Youth Club is one of the product of the young leaders effort coming out of Roxborough Secondary School. And by the way, so is the leader of the Roxborough Police Youth Club, Mr. Collis Hazel, one of our alumni, also DCP Suzette Martin out of Roxborough Sec, not to mention the current PS in CAS, attached to CAS, Mr. Erland Kent. But those are past students. So those are some of the accomplishments that we have. You're asking, where do we want to go now? Number one, Roxborough Secondary School had its own digital platform as early as 2017, simply because we knew that if we want to get our product, our children, to be a part of a digital world, we have to be digital. And our teachers have to master digital, because you can't teach if you don't learn. As a matter of fact, we subscribe to the doctrine that a teacher is an eternal student. Now, coming out of that, we also want to get the children to take a more active part in charting the part of the school. So we have a very vibrant student council. Just recently, we sat down with them and hammered out the school rules where uniform were concerned, because we were having issues with the young men. Just recently in the news you had with the plotting of hair and so on. And we sat down with both the males and females and said, okay, here's what. This is what we have now as far as the school rules are concerned. Help us write some things that is going to uphold the standards of the schools, and at the same time that we could hold you accountable to without compromising standard. And they set their own rules. So if anyone, of course, the rules have to be sanctioned by the staff, the teaching staff. So if anyone now breaks those rules, we will hold you accountable and say, no, you sat with us. You are the ones who suggested it. You cannot renege from your commitment. In addition to that, we also, as part of the Spartec project, we want to create a space where when students have nothing to do, if you don't want to study, in terms of a maker labs, a maker lab is a space where we are going to provide you with technologies such as 3D printing, CNC cutters, where you could make your own circuit board, your own digital art. That is separate and apart from the curriculum that forces you to memorize a particular content. And we are saying in your free time, you could study, and when you're finished studying, come to the Maker Lab and create. Besides the Maker Lab, one of the big things that we are championing, since we owe our most recent success, not just to the effort of the sports committee and the PE teachers, but to the athletes themselves. You know that if an athlete is taking part in sport, he is doing double the work that the ordinary or non-athletic student is doing, because he has to go to training, he has to go to meet, then he has to do the same academic work, pass the same test that the students who have far more free time than him or her is doing. So what we have decided is that we have put together an academic assistance program to support our athletes, in which once you miss your classes, once you get back to school, we create space in the library where you would go under the supervision of the guidance officer along with the librarian, the teachers who are free to catch up with the work that you have missed. And it's going to be online. So if you are traveling, once you have a device, you could log in and catch up with schoolwork. The only problem we are having now is we do not have enough computer systems to drive that. So we are hoping that someone in corporate TNT could help us to get at least 40 desktop computers to go along that way. And the long and short is, since we're speaking about athletics, I have issued a challenge to Mr. Thumb and his team that I want the first Olympic gold medal out of Tobago to come from Roxborough Secondary School. So that's it for now. If you want, if you give me a chance, I would spend the whole day talking about all the plans we have for Tobago. So I'm going to give you the opportunity to chat the discussion so that I don't get carried away.
Thank you, Mr. Brooks, for that. Thank you so much for that. You know, there are a few things that I want to pull out from what you mentioned earlier. One of the main things is the consultation with the students. Involvement in creating their school rules and holding them accountable, because they are the ones who decided these are the rules that we are willing to follow, and the teachers sanctioning, of course, and having that measure of, partnership where they are concerned. So kudos to you on that. And I do hope that the rest of policymakers employ that same method. It would be so much easier for us to agree on something and, make it happen. So kudos to you and commendations on that. And that shameless plug that you put in there for those 40 desktops, of course, I hope they are listening to you and that they will come on board and, support all of your efforts. And I just want to take a few minutes to tell you congratulations from some of our viewers who are online and who are sending in comments. Coming in from Julia Brown. She's saying, I'm loving what Mr. Brooks is giving us. Brenda Campbell is saying, hi, Mr. Brooks, congratulations. And Alvin Thomas, who is a past student, apparently is saying, I think my old school should be converted to a full technical high school, which you alluded to as well in your discourse. And also Beyonce Akisha, I can't pronounce that last name. Wonderful speech, Mr. PC Brooks. All congratulating you on the progress that you are making and all your plans for the future. And we too here at Tobago Updates want to wish you the very best in your future endeavors. We are very proud of where you are and where you are going. We look forward to see, continued transformation and the evolution of the Roxborough Secondary School. All the best in your endeavors. But this is where we have to wrap our conversation because of time, of course. And we see and we feel your passion, not only in this conversation, but we saw you dancing with your students at your Thanksgiving service.
I was having a ball. I was having a ball with them. But let me just make one more point. Currently, I don't want to sound as if we are a needy case, a needy school. We have a beautiful drive. You're talking about community input, where the PTA has gotten resources, free paint for us to paint the school. So we are currently painting the school on a class-by-class basis. The parents are coming in to do that. So this is once again students actively taking part in their school life. However, we have a major challenge. You see, we can only paint the areas that amateur people could reach up and so on. Where you have to get scaffolding and so on, that is presenting a challenge because the scaffolding is over about $30,000 or more. And in addition to that, I wouldn't put amateurs like myself nor the parents who come in to paint along with the students. However, the division of works, or what we used to call the division of works, I believe they call quarries and infrastructure or something like that. They have agreed to come in to paint for us as long as we get the scaffolding. So I'm putting another plug in. Please assist us. Thank you very much. Sorry for going over time. It's a pleasure. And anytime you want to chat with me or any one of the members of the staff of Roxborough Secondary School, because Roxborough Secondary School is not Patterson Brooks. It's a group of very dynamic, hardworking teachers, security officers, maintenance workers. It's a team, it's a family, and we are doing our best, and we'd like to get the word out, and we are very happy for the opportunity. Thank you very much. You have a wonderful day. All the best to the listening, to your audience, and all the best to your company. Thanks again.
Thank you so much, Mr. Brooks, speaking there to Mr. Patterson Brooks, principal at the Roxborough Secondary School, talking about all their achievements and their projections as they continue to improve the standard and the quality that is coming out of the Roxborough Secondary School. We wish you all the very best, and we do hope that you, the partnership that you're asking for, that you do get them to advance your causes. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we have to go for a short break before we continue conversations in studio with our guest. And of course, before we go for a break, we invite you and all your friends to help us share the live, share the live, share the live. We'll be right back.